What up, everybody? Blade the Scholar Magic, and today is all about Vivi Ornitier, and I'm so glad I bought a copy of that. I got it pretty low. It's trending up. It's such an amazing card, still legal in Commander, and I'm not building a deck with it in the command zone. I'm building a deck of it more for an exploit, I would say. And I'm not really too sure if you ever explored Aragorn the Uniter, but it's a really fantastic +4/+4 payoff for green spells. And there's so many more cards that I have found out that just produce abundance of mana based on a creature's power, whether it's their own power that grows, or that it's seeing other creatures' power, having a certain power, which is kind of a payoff. And we can kind of look at some of those along the way. But I kind of wanted to kind of explain my thoughts that I think it's okay to have these kind of power creatures, because the thing is that I'm not sure if you like kind of play in a brawl format on Arena or even in your local LGS, but for instance, I think a good example of a card to kind of baseline this on that came from a new set is Raphael and Mikey, or maybe Mikey and Raphael. It's a 7 mana commander. It's a 7/7 with haste, and when it attacks, it simply summons a big baddie from your library, and it's just plowing down. And I've actually seen bracket 4 decks play that. You go into an old Gnawbone, and you can simply just combo off, right? So there's ways basically to combo off in that type of card, and it's so very fast. Like even in Brawl, we'll kind of look at kind of these, different situations here. But you could have a basically 5 lands on turn 2 now. It's quite accomplishable. Imagine like if you have like an exploration, which on turn 1 will let you play an additional land, and then you can go into like an Earthbender's Ascension, or some other ramp facet from there, and you get to play another land with your exploration. And then you have 5 lands, and then you're just 2 lands off of your Raphael and Mikey, and that's very fast. So, if you're on the draw, you're in a very bad spot against that, in most circumstances. So I think it's okay to have kind of these cards, and Brawl kind of reminds me now of kind of like a turn 3, turn 4 format, the 1 versus 1. Especially with those kind of commanders just running rampant. I mean, if Mikey gets down and swings, you're pretty much dead. So I think we'll just kind of first and just start off with Vivi Ornitier, the 0/3, 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and it is a wizard. And basically, what this card can do is it's just, will scale up as you're playing non-creature spells, which is nice. And it'll actually start pinging your opponents, as you continue to play those spells as well. Which also is nice about Vivi is that you can actually just pay into it. I think it is to activate as 0 mana, correct? And you can just simply create like an abundance of mana based on its power, which is really, really cool. So that's kind of like the main kind of payoff for this. So let's get a deep dive into the card, and let's look at Aragorn 2. So that'll be next. I want to take a little bit of a moment here to just marvel in Dominic Mayer's Aragorn photo and Alex Stone. I was just messing around in Photoshop, and I just love this mosaic of how these two cards kind of form together. You can see those bursts of like light coming from the giant growth. I did not edit this anyway. I just cropped it and put it on there. And those bolts like kind of link up in some ways, like actually ethereally through like the top. Those rays of light are just shining through. I'm so overjoyed of like magic in general. It's such an interesting symbolism. It's like it kind of reminds you of like the Wizard of Oz, dark side of the moon kind of symbolism, the synchronicity of things, and it's there on display. It's so beautiful. I would have this as a playmat, there's no doubt. I think this kind of embodies kind of Aragorn and Vivi's kind of journey together. Is just these like little mono green spells that can be played for 1 mana. And then, all of a sudden, your Vivi is like 8 powered. then you're kind of just popping and doing whatever you want. And that's so easy to accomplish, turn 2 Vivi, turn 3 Aragorn, and then you're just popping off so hard. And who knows what you can combo off with, but I mean, that could just be GG, homie. You know what I'm saying? So, this is kind of the bread and the butter of the Vivi Aragorn style, is kind of these green spells that are low in mana. They just have some different benefits, sometimes powering up, and some mana, and it's always kind of a nice outcome for these two fellows. So that's the first start. Cheers. If you're not familiar with the card in the background, that's called Vesuvian Duplimancy. It's a pretty famous card, all the way back from the Dominaria United. It's a mythic. It's a 4-mana spell, 3 generic, 1 blue, and the point of that card is anytime you have a spell that targets a creature in a single target manner only, then you will create a copy of it that's non-legendary. And that is really phenomenal for our game plan, because we can play these really inexpensive green spells that will beef up our power of our creatures, and also have some really sweet outcomes. And these are my 3, most important green spells I pretty much have in the deck. Charge Through, which is very easy to kind of get your Aragorn into a Voltron range, which is really nice, and give it Trample, and also give you a card. We love those effects that can target something cheaply, and when it resolves, gives us a card. Viridescent Wisp also does that. It will give you a 1/0 buff. That creature will become green, and you will draw a card for 1 green mana. And likely, my favorite is Hunter's Insight. That card is so good. And you can see these all just simply target a creature on a single target basis. Remember, like your March of Otherworldly Light, your Doppelgangs, only will trigger with Vesuvian Duplimancy if you have 1 target. So you have to keep that kind of text in mind with Vesuvian Duplimancy. But Hunter's Insight is amazing. You're going to target a creature control, and whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw that many cards, and that could be an instant speed, and that usually draws like 7 or 8 cards. So it's really a really phenomenal card for the deck. And these are like the big 3 for this sweet Vivi Aragorn deck. And in the close, we can talk about kind of the other payoffs in this deck. Like I said, there's a lot of tapping effects for large amounts of mana. There's ways to untap and keep that chain going. Probably your key components for here is like a Bloom Tender that will create 4 mana with Aragorn, which is a really big payoff, of course, for the amount of colors it sees. And then you have a card like Jeskai Ascendancy, which is kind of obnoxious, because once that kind of hits the board and you have like 2 mana dorks, you can go mana positive pretty easily, especially have some decent card advantage, because your creatures will continually power up. And that card, like with the Savala, for instance, even Mona Lisa from the new TMNT set, they just printed another freaking one of these, and I believe Lauren Eclipse or Strixhaven, and there's bunch of creatures that simply, based on their power, will produce that much mana, and they're insane. So you have a card like Jeskai in the Ascendancy, and you just have such a better option to combo off with Aragorn, because everything's getting pumped up. And then it's untapping when you play non-creature spells, and you're just tapping again for mana. And with Jeskai Ascendancy, you're also looting through cards. You're just like filtering through those lands and getting gas. It's so stupid. And that's like only like a $1.50 card. Jeskai Ascendancy is insane. And then you have Rishkar's Expertise, and this deck is also insane, because that's just 9 cards with Aragorn upon casting. He's on the battlefield, you pump up Aragorn, that's 9 cards, and that's a really good rate. Overall, fantastic deck. I'll post the list in the description. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We give away decks here all the time, so if you make comments, you also are part of that process for some wheel spins. You'll just love it, guys. I guarantee you. Love it. People that win, they're so surprised. Like, I can't believe I just won this deck. It's like, you did it. So 750 subscribers is our next milestone for Tycho, the Patient Avalanche. And I'll see you guys there, probably sooner than later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.